So, the Marvel Universe is coming to an end in an upcoming event called Secret Wars that's going to be released around May. And supposedly this event represents the end of both the Marvel comic book universe and the Ultimate comic book universe. So what are my thoughts on this? Well, before I begin, I'm going to put a link in the description below for you guys to check out the article that I got this information from. I was originally going to do this video 4 days ago, which is on the day they released this article, but I decided to wait a bit and get as much information as I can from this event and then share my thoughts. So you guys can go right now and read that article and check it out for yourselves, or you can just sit right here and just listen to my opinions that I have on this event. So now my thoughts on this. Well, there's so many variations, so many things about this event that I have opinions about, so let me start with the overall event itself. This event really reminds me of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I'm not the only one. So many people have mentioned it before. Is that a good thing? Well, in a storytelling perspective, and for a person who is seeking originality, not really. And the reason why a lot of people are saying that this event reminds them of DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths is because in DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths, we have the Anti-Monitor who wants to destroy the multiverse. Now, he nearly succeeded, except what happened was each and every universe formed into one, which was New Earth. In this event, the writers mention, and I quote, "We are taking the best and biggest pieces of Marvel's history and seeing how easily they coexist with one another." They also mention that every world in Marvel's multiverse will be destroyed with pieces of each forming Battle World, the staging ground for the Secret Wars storyline or story event. Notice the similarities? If you still don't understand, imagine it like this. Each and every universe in the Marvel multiverse is destroyed, with the exception of small fragments. Now, those small fragments from each universe form into one big and sole universe, which is called Battle World. It's very similar to DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths, and that's why a lot of people think that there are similarities between these two events. As I said before, it's kind of bad if you're looking for original ideas, but it is interesting to see Marvel's interpretation of, or at least Marvel's version of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I've been wanting to see this for about a while, so to me, I'm gonna be honest, I'm really anticipated for this event. I would love to see what they would do with this concept and the overall results of it. And that leads me to the second thing I wanted to talk about, and that is the result of both Marvel comic book universe and the Ultimate Universe coming to an end. In fact, they're not technically coming to an end, they're just going to be merged into one. People have been screaming out reboots, with good reason. In fact, if you just look at the story concept itself, it is a reboot. I mean, come on, two main universes, may I remind you, that pretty much takes up the entire library of Marvel, are coming to an end, and as a result, a new universe is being brought about. So if Marvel wants to continue their storylines, these storylines are going to take place within this new universe. And what's going to happen? Same characters, but different concepts, different storylines, aka reboots. For some reason, the writers don't want to say it's a reboot, which makes sense in a way because they don't want to suffer backlash. But I mean, come on, just say reboot. Don't have us continuously ask you guys if it's a reboot. We know it's a reboot. You guys know it's a reboot. Just say it and let us move on with our day. It's kind of that simple. Now, is a reboot a good idea? Is it ever a good idea? Nah, I'm just playing. Where do I even begin with this? Yes and no. Yes and no. Now, I have a very strong hatred for reboots. I really do. Not as much as retcons, but they're kind of the same, except I consider retcon taboo around me than reboots, but that's just for a different topic for another day. I'm going to mention a quote that I believe a member at Marvel mentioned about his response towards the fans' reaction to this event and calling it a reboot. He kind of showcases his thoughts on the concept of reboot. He mentioned, if I can remember correctly, The idea of the reboot, it's not bad. It's the execution of the said reboot. It's the result that happened with this reboot. And that, in a nutshell, pretty much explains why I hate reboots. It's the execution. It's what happens after the reboot. What was created because of this reboot. One of the biggest examples that I can give you, and it's, even though it's been like 3 or something more years, I'm going to mention it again, and that is the DC's New 52. Now, the reboot itself, I kind of didn't like it, but I can respect it. It's just what happened after. Because what happened after, there was so much bad writing. But I mean so much bad writing that it actually got me to not like DC. It actually got me to stop reading their books for a while until I got back into it. But yeah, so I really hope, for Marvel's sake, that after this reboot, because I know it's a reboot, after this, don't fuck it up. Don't make literally 75% of your library full with bad writing. Don't do that. Learn from DC's mistakes. That's what you should do. As a competitor, any competitor should do that. Learn from their other competitors' mistakes. That way they don't make that mistake themselves. Wow, I am surprisingly calm. Wow, that's a first in a while, actually. But anyway, I just want to take the time and talk about the Ultimate Verse. Now, when I first heard about this, and specifically the Ultimate Universe coming to an end, I was sad. You know, bummed out. Not just into tears, but just a bit bummed out. And I searched in various comic book websites to see anybody else's thoughts on this. And all I saw was hatred over the idea that this universe is coming to an end. Now, for anybody who's watching this and has that same opinion, I just want to ask you this question. Just sit down and think about this. Is the Ultimate Universe worth saving? I'm actually amazed nobody has asked this question yet. Is the universe, or that specific universe, worth saving? The reason why I ask is for 2 very specific reasons. One, look at Marvel's comic book lineup right now. The ones who are currently ongoing. Notice how there's only one comic book about the Ultimate Universe, and that is Miles Morales' Ultimate Spider-Man. The all-new Ultimates have ended. Actually, they got canceled, but same thing, they ended. Ultimate FF is no more. It's been no more for a while now. So, think about it. On top of that, the second thing I want to mention is, remember the events Ultimatum, Death of Spider-Man, if I can remember correctly. What's the other one? It's fairly recent. Happened last year. Or no, 2 years ago, but it continued in last year. What was it? Cataclysm, the Ultimate's Last Stand, where Galactus tries to destroy the Ultimate Universe, or the Ultimate Earth to be more specific. Think about those events. So many people have died. But I mean, so many people have died. To the point where there's barely anybody left. So I ask you again, is this universe really worth saving? In fact, I can think of only 2 characters right now off the top of my head that are really worth saving. The first one is, of course, and this one is very obvious, Miles Morales' Ultimate Spider-Man, but I believe mostly because I like him. On top of that, he's very popular amongst the community, the Marvel fan base, that I'm pretty sure a lot of people wants him to still be alive. And the second one, which is odd because I never thought I would like her, and that is Jessica Parker, who is Spider-Woman, but I believe in the all-new Ultimates comic book, she changed her name to, what was it, Black Widow. I believe she's worth saving, because to me, she's an interesting character. But other than that, nobody else is interesting. Captain America is not interesting. Tony Stark, well, even though I like him better than the 616 version of Tony Stark, is not interesting. None of the X-Men are interesting to me. This is just me personally. But in general, I don't really hear a lot of people talk about them. So, yeah, in my personal opinion, I may be bummed out over the fact that this universe is coming to an end, but I don't think it's worth saving. I really don't. If anybody has thoughts on this, let me know in the comment section below. Please, I would love to know your thoughts on this. This last thing I want to mention has mostly to do with the fans' reaction over this event, and I've been wanting to say this for years on this channel, and I'm really glad that now is a good time to say it, especially since almost every single website that I've gone to with information about this event, I've run up to people who constantly say this phrase, and that is, ruined my childhood. Let me go on the record and say I hate this phrase. I do. I really, really do. I think it's ignorant, I think it's closed-minded, and I think it's just a very, very, very stupid thing to say. I really do. Why? Because, think about it like this. Your childhood is a past experience, something that you have experienced already. Nothing nor nobody can take that away from you because you've already experienced it. Now, what do people mean by that in terms of this situation? Well, back then it used to be, or the phrase ruin my childhood used to be something that people notice that are inappropriate over the works of fiction that they liked in the past. For example, let's say if somebody pointed out all the naughty bits, all the inappropriate stuff in Rugrats, somebody would probably jokingly say, ruin my childhood. That's kind of where the joke came from. But now it's come to the point where anybody who announces something new that is a successor of the thing that they liked in the past, they would either hate on it or not give it a chance because they think it's going to ruin the reputation of the thing that they like in the past. Now, it is worth mentioning that not everyone does this. No, not everyone does this, but there are a lot of people who think this way, and to be honest, that's kind of sad. It does. Another example that I can give you is, look at the people who hate Teen Titans Go and use this phrase. When Teen Titans Go was first announced, a lot of people went up in arms and say that this show is ruining the reputation of the previous show. In fact, they went out of the way and say that this show is ruining their childhood, and I always tell them that, okay, why don't you go buy the DVD box sets that are available to purchase online or any store? Why don't you go and purchase and relive your precious childhood and ignore the new ones? This goes the same with the people who are reacting to this or this decision from Marvel. Marvel's rebooting their universe, of course. It's sad. Nobody wants to see reimagine or reinterpret characters that might ruin your ideal favorite interpretation of the character that you like. But if you don't like it, you don't have to read it. On top of that, you can purchase the volumes or the graphic novels that feature the character's interpretation that you like and keep them and relive them. Basically, what I'm saying is purchase these items so you can relive your childhood and ignore the ones that you are claiming are ruining your childhood. Seriously, and to anybody who thinks this way, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but you are, by saying this statement and going out of your way to prevent it from happening, you're basically ruining the next generation's childhood, because if you think about it, nobody wants the same thing rehashed over and over again. Or nobody wants the same thing. They want new things, right? And maybe this reboot is something new for the next generation. It may not be new for us because we constantly see reboots up the wazoo, but it's new for them. It might be something that they like. Who knows? Maybe the next generation doesn't even like the old stuff, and that's why they're rebooting it in the first place. It's just something that, you know, I wanted to mention so many times, especially when Teen Titans Go was first came out, and so many people just bashed on it, saying this phrase over and over and over again. It just got annoying, and I really wanted to say it, but I didn't know how to say it. But I'm saying it in this video because I'm just tired of hearing it. Anyway, there's really nothing much to say. My overall thoughts on this event boils down to this. I don't like the concept because it's not original. But I am anticipated to see what they would do with this, since I always wanted to see their interpretation of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I'm hyped. I'm a little bit hyped over this event. I want to see what this reboot is going to do with the Marvel Universe. And I hope everything goes well for Marvel and they learn from DC's mistakes. So then that way they don't end up as another New 52. Same thing with DC. I hope everything goes well with them with conversions and all that other stuff. Anyway, my name is Bizkit Rebellion. Hope you guys enjoy this commentary or my opinions on this event. If you have any thoughts, let me know in the comment section below. Peace out and goodbye.